And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So tonight I'm going to be reviewing Dexter Original Sin, episode 5. And this is actually called F is for Fuck Up. So let's go on ahead. Let's talk about F is for Fuck Up now. And let's do it, guys. I'm excited to be able to review original Dexter Original Sin. So let's do it. And hello, and welcome to the show. So first off, I just want to say this. We are actually sponsored by Phonetics. Go on ahead, go to the link below, get you some merch from Phonetics. They put out some great merch for like sports teams and stuff like that. I got myself a Celtics hoodie that's really good quality and also keeps you warm during the winter time. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about Dexter Original Sin. So this is what I want to talk about. I thought this episode was better than what we got last week whenever we looked at Mad Dog and stuff like that and the mistakes that Dexter's made. But in this one, it not only captures Dexter's mistakes, but also captures Harry's mistakes as well, too, whenever you look at Dexter's life. So I feel like F is for fuck up doesn't just relate to Dexter, but also reflects on Harry because he fucked up his own police case with not interrogating the suspect's witness properly and allowing the suspect to walk. Harry grounding Dexter for allowing Mad Dog to escape is actually Dexter's fuck up and isn't allowed to go to work until Harry knows that Dexter is in the clear. But what I liked about this was it actually continues off where we left off at when Dexter's actually running through the streets and Mad Dog is over there running to get away from him. And he's like, oh shit, I just screwed up. So yeah, I like how he does the whole entire thing of saying, well, okay, so basically I have 20 minutes to tear all this stuff down off of Mad Dog's wall before the cops start coming in and looking at Mad Dog's place, and also to basically trying to put together about what happened to Mad Dog. So I like how he goes into that description of those details of certain things, and then next thing you know, it Miami Metro is actually faster than what Dexter predicted them to be. Dexter did manage to clear the plastic off the walls and everything before Miami Metro comes. So, and then I also like that little suspense moment where you have the two cops come busting up inside the house, and they look around, they see the guitars, and they don't see Dexter. Dexter's hiding behind in the corner. So I like the little bit of the suspense of it, of like, oh shit, could Dexter possibly get caught here? So I like the suspense of that part of the show, which I thought was really interesting about how they play that off. But you know, the thing that I have to say the most is, okay, so I want to go into this. Well, Dexter's alarming incident with Mad Dog nearly got him a life sentence in Dexter Original Sin, episode 4. Now, this is actually where I was talking about, but the fact that that episode actually ties into this really good. But the Dexter's familiar's relationship with his sister Deb and decreased adoptive mom Doris, Christine Slater's Harry continues to expand in both the present day and flashback timelines as he gradually becomes a highlight character of the prequel series. At the series midpoint, it's safe to say that Gibson Dexter is fully convincing and has the potential to extend Original Sin into a multi-season effort. But I want to say this. I think my thing is this. I think we were leading into the whole thing of Harry dying later on in the season. I think it's going to happen like in the last episode. But that's just my little prediction of when I think it's going to happen. But then you also have, given Deb's turbulent relationship history in the original series, her new romantic interest, Geo, is surely a person of interest to keep an eye on the remainder of the original of this series, because I feel like that he might actually be the main villain of this, even though we're not seeing it in that kind of way. But I'm thinking that there's something more to her boyfriend that meets the eye, and I think that Dexter might actually go on ahead and probably put him on the table. That's just my little prediction. I think that there's something more to that boyfriend than what they're giving us, because it's kind of odd that Deb fell for this guy, and he's rich, he's got a yacht and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that this guy, there's something more to him. But and then you wind up finding that the fierce subliminal tension that starts to surface between Harry and Dexter, hinting at a potential upcoming rift in the father and son dynamic as well. And this is actually where you actually see Harry being a lot more stressed out, even though we've seen it in like the last couple of episodes. But this one, you can definitely tell that Dexter's really stressing him out to the point where he actually had to ground him from his own job because of the fact that he's afraid that it might actually be a suspect that was chasing down Mad Dog whenever Mad Dog got ran over. So he tells him to sit it out until he knows for sure that everything is fine. And as that's being played out, you have Dexter over there going into the refrigerator. He winds up accidentally getting high on Deb's little on her brownies. And I just thought that was a comical moment for Deb and for Dexter to be able to bond. And the fact that he's talking about pizza, he's just not himself. And I thought that was quite hilarious, though, to actually put that in there, because we never seen Dexter high, and he's actually really panicky. We never seen that either. And he's like, oh shit, am I gonna I think he's also afraid that he's gonna rat himself out to Deb on anything that he's doing. So therefore, he's really panicking within that. So I like the fact that we actually have a little bit of a bonding time between Deb and also Dexter. But the fact that Harry's extensive backstory with Lauren Moser is in turn of with his present day timeline involving a botched child murderer is no coincidence. While Harry has already been considered Dexter's biggest supporter as a serial killer vigilante, Original Sin introduces a more nuanced perspective of Harry and Dexter's strange dynamic for the first time in the franchise history. And in the original series, Harry is more of a mentor and a twisted sort of angel on Dexter's shoulder, reminding him of his responsibilities of the code. Seeing Harry as a human grasping the control of his own life and hanging by the thread is just as, if not more, compelling than witnessing Dexter stumble his way into vigilantism. And also, too, in Emerges Gibson's brings to Dexter also elevates his vision of the character. But then you also have Dexter begins to protect his craft by putting Harry's life on the table, which is something that I was not expecting with this, and we'll get into that a little later. But, I really felt like this was actually one of the best parts of the series, though, because if you think of it like this, number one, he didn't have no sedations or anything like that to put Mad Dog down. Mad Dog got off the table. He runs. He goes running over to in the street. Dexter's chasing him. If he had sedations and stuff like that, he would be able to catch him. But because of that, he didn't have anything. But I like how later on, after Harry winds up, says, okay, you're off the hook. So therefore, now you can actually go and go back to work. But there's also consequences. I like how pretty much Harry's actually teaching consequences to Dexter because of the fact that, like, yeah, you can go back to work, but this case is not over with yet or anything, despite the fact that Harry did go into the morgue to make sure that Mad Dog's body was actually hit by the car, if there was no other foul play happening. And also, too, he also mentions to the guy at the morgue, he says, look, is there any other issues with the body or anything? And he said, no. The car hit him. That's all that happened, unless it happens to be the driver is somehow related to this incident. That's the only way that this would not be, it wouldn't go any further. So what Harry does is he makes Dexter fingerprint the guy that ran over Mad Dog, and he's over there crying. He's crying his brains out and everything. He's like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I killed somebody. I did not mean to. And like Greta's trying to calm him down the best that she can. He goes, look, it's not your fault. Accidents happen. You cannot control what happened, but can you remember the face and the facial expression on the guy's face? And he's like, how could I not? That's the most terrifying thing that I ever had to go through. And I like how Michael C. Hall's character doing the narration of this, like, someone that doesn't mean to kill somebody, this is actually a normal reaction for them. For me, it's not a normal reaction, and it's not showing any type of humancy. But as he's over there fingerprinting the guy, he tells him, "Look, man, I'm sorry this happened to you. Accidents happen." And so then Dex winds up fingerprinting the guy and walks off. But then he also catches up with his boss. And his boss is watching a horse race. And I love how this is actually so much like Dexter, where he's like, "What's going on, boss?" And she's like, "Well, I'm watching this race on TV." "Oh, I didn't know you were into horse racing." She goes, "Yeah." And so happens to be, she didn't win the horse race or anything. So therefore, they have to put the horse down. And he's wondering, what do they have to do to basically uh, put the horse to sleep. So she tells him the medications to put the horse to sleep and how much to put in and stuff like that. And I like how it actually goes, "Oh, that's very interesting." Because what? From a veterinarian standpoint, is very interesting. But he goes down to where the horse stable is, and he gets the medications and stuff, and that's how he gets his sedations and stuff. But I'm wondering if there's something more to that. I'm wondering, like, later on or whatever, he winds up finding out that, hey, look, he can actually get this from, you know, where he can actually get the sedations and everything from Miami Metro instead of having to go to the stables or anything. But, I just thought that was an interesting way of how they're doing it. But then you have the whole entire deal with Deb, and Deb is it's the 1 year anniversary of their mother's death, Doris, and and she's like, "Look, I want to go to the cemetery. I want to see what's going on with and just spend time with mom. Would you guys go on ahead and do it?" Well, Harry said, "Look, we can do it at 5 o'clock. If that's okay with you." She says, "Okay." Dexter says, "Okay, we'll all agree to do that." But he gets held up at the stable. Harry doesn't even show up until like later on. But let me just talk to you about this. Harry winds up screwing up this whole entire case because of the fact that he thought the perp's witness, the one that was going to vouch for him, wasn't a suitable witness enough because she was actually loaded and high that time that he was trying to ask her questions, to the point where he's like, "Okay, well, she's not really, it's not a very good alibi. So therefore, why am I going to waste my time with someone that's coked out?" So anyway, she comes into this courtroom dressed up to the nine, and he's like, "Whoa!" He was not expecting this. They were actually preparing um, Harry the whole entire time of what the lawyers are going to ask him, what the court is going to ask him, and then all of a sudden you see the woman, the dressed up to the nine, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm fucked," because this is not the same person that I knew and was interviewing during this interrogation or anything. This is someone, and you can definitely tell that this woman's been drilled on what to do, what to say, and stuff. But the funny thing is, the judge doesn't even think about even questioning her because of the fact that Harry screwed up the case anyways. He's like, "So did you interview? Do you know this woman?" Harry's like, "No, I never seen that woman in my life." And just, "Really, you don't know her?" He goes, and he looked at her very closely, and then he realizes, "Oh yeah, I did. I interviewed her, but she was so high to the point where I couldn't really, um, do anything with her or anything." So therefore, because of that, they let the perp walk, and now Harry's mad because of the fact that he walked. Now he's actually in trouble with the captain, and the captain's probably going to try and get rid of him. That's what Harry was thinking at that time. I've probably lost my job. And so as that happens, Harry winds up going to the bar, gets drunk. But also too, he also tells Dexter that what happened because of the what happened with things, and he's like, "Look, I let someone go. It was an accident. I didn't mean for this to happen. I could lose my job for this." And you know, and he goes, "I let someone that could have winded up being in prison. I let him go." And so now it's up to Dexter to try and put that wrong right. But also too, I want to go into the flashback scene for a second with Harry um and also Dexter's mom. Harry winds up sleeping with Dexter's mom again. He's like, look, this is a huge mistake. I shouldn't have done this or anything like that. I should not have slept with you. And then he's hell with it, and he winds up doing it again. So he definitely does have a strong connection to Dexter's mom. And then as that after that happens, he comes home. Doris winds up saying, hey, look, I'm pregnant again. He's shocked at the fact that she's pregnant again with Deb. And so now you have that dramatic part happening in the flashbacks. But and he also gets on to Dexter. I forgot to mention this too, but he also winds up getting onto Dexter for letting Mad Dog go running down the street when someone could have seen him. And so now Dexter's like, okay, well, how can I get Harry to trust me? Just as Harry's trying to figure out a way for the police force to also try to trust him again. So Dexter already has everything planned out on what he wants to do to earn Harry's trust again. But Harry's actually getting drunk, like I mentioned, and his police captain comes into the bar that they all hang out at, and he's like, well, I'm sure that you didn't come here to talk about old times or anything. He goes, no, you still got your job. I'm putting you in a different position on a different case, and that's going to be it. You're lucky that you're getting another chance. Otherwise, I would have already fired you for what happened. So then, as that's going on, he's getting loaded. Harry's getting loaded on scotch. He winds up driving. His vision's kind of hazy, and he sees the perp that he let go. And he's getting out of the car, and he's going over to the perp's house because they're celebrating. I do not like this perp at all because of the snarkiness, and especially whenever he winds up laughing in Harry's face because of the fact he winded up being let go over something that he did, and Harry knows that he did it, but he can't basically prove it now. So I like how that plays out in the courtroom, and now Harry's over there at his house, at the guy's house, at the perp's house, and his vision's hazy. He was about to shoot him. He had a silencer on his gun, and if it wasn't for Dexter sedating his own father, he would have actually went on ahead and killed the perp himself, and also risked his own life and his own freedom and his badge to shoot this one guy when Dexter could have went on ahead and killed this guy. And I like how Dexter says this later on, but I was not expecting Dexter to put Harry on the table or anything like that. But at the same time, though, he's fitting in with Dexter's code to where he's crossing that boundary, where basically Harry is basically crossing that boundary of killing someone and not being someone of upholding the law. But I like how Dexter winds up sedating him, puts him on the table, and Harry is like, what the did you do, Dex? What the hell? And he goes, well, I learned my lesson, Dad. Look, you can't get out, can you? And it's the saran wrap. He's got the saran wrap on him so tightly that Harry can't move or anything like that. He goes, I promise you, no more mistakes, Dad. I got this now. I figured out, and I also said, and he goes, I also sedated you. He goes, what? You too much of that could have actually OD'd me. He goes, don't worry. I read how much to give you based off of your weight. So therefore, I knew how much to give you. I knew what to do. It's okay. I know what I'm doing. And he said, you're about to cross that line that you shouldn't have crossed, and you also trained me to do what I do. So my thing is this: why didn't you allow me to do what I do? What's the purpose of you training me if you're just going to try and take the law into your own hands? So after Dexter winds up on doing his bindings and stuff, on doing Harry's bindings, Harry winds up telling him, look, you already have the evidence. This guy, the perp, is not innocent. I want you to kill him. But yeah, that's so. Basically, Harry gives him the go ahead to kill the guy. But in my thought process is this: Dexter goes ahead and kills this guy right after he got out of court out of court. That actually makes Harry a suspect if he does that, because of the fact that he didn't like the fact that how the court case went. So therefore, it makes him a suspect, even though there's not gonna be a body later on. But still, it makes him look suspect. I'm just saying that. Um, but I like how they go into that detail of letting Harry and Dexter have that moment, and Dexter winds up letting him go. Then you wind up having some other stuff that winds up happening with Deborah and stuff like that. I really have to say the writing for this show is great. I really loved it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. But now that the introductory phase of the original sin is over, and compromises to the authenticity of the original series seem far less crucial since it's more established. Masuka, Batista, and Lagretta, who made up much of the central Miami Metro PD characters in Dexter, are less important to the success of the prequel series now that it's hard. The relationship between Dexter and Harry has successfully taken control of the narrative. The notion is confirmed that an episode and this ending twist in which Dexter places, like I said, Dexter places Harry on his own kill table to demonstrate the improvements he's made with his methods. And I never thought that would actually happen. While the original story of Dexter's sedation approaches is a bit sloppy with an unutilized Sarah Michelle Gellar who bets on horse races in the Miami Metro franchise lab, forensics lab, that big moment it creates, essentially forgives the odds for setup. But I think that we're going to see a lot more when it comes down to it. I think that we're going to see it played out more in the forensics and how Dexter gets the sedations. I don't think he's going to spend his time going down to the horse track and to the stables to get it or anything like that. And I think Carrie's going to help him with that. But I just thought that was a little shocking moment of Dexter putting Harry on the table. Then you also have this episode then pivots over to nearly confessing his murder to Deb. And like I said, I thought that he would actually confess to Deb that, hey, look, I kill people. But, I like how he plays it off and he goes, and I like how Deb goes, what? It's not like you killed anybody. And he just laughs about it. I loved seeing him high, like I mentioned. But yeah, I think that in episode 6, we'll get back on track with its main villain arc, and we'll prove that episode 5 was only taking a breath rather than blowing smoke. And then, yeah, I think that this is actually a pretty good episode. Even though I felt like, let's see here, if I was actually going to say it, I'm going to say probably the first 3 episodes held up strong. These 2 episodes were good, but not great, but still very entertaining. I enjoyed it for what it is. My question for you guys is, what did you guys think of this episode? Does this episode work for you? Did you feel like this was like a little bit of a breather episode just to show us the sedation and Harry and Dexter's relationship a lot more and stuff? But I also like this other thing too, as well, where when Dexter's trying to look for Harry and Harry's not there, you have that emptiness of that desk, and Harry's not there, and it's like a little foreshadowing of the fact that Harry's going to be gone soon because he's going to die, because we already knew that from season 1 of Dexter that Harry's going to die. And is that little self-reflection of like, my dad could be dead, even though Dex is just looking for Harry. That's what I got from it. But yeah, my question for you guys is, did you guys like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Tell me in the comments if you're watching right now. If you want to go ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com, go ahead. I'll be glad to geek out over some Dexter, talk about Dexter any time of the day with you guys. So with that being said, that's going to be it for the show. Do me a favor, don't forget to go on ahead and get you some stuff over at Phonetics. And everything. All the links will be in the description below. So go ahead, treat yourself. And always until next time, Have a great and safe night, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye, guys.